Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to the September 23rd, 2014 Richland 2 School Board of Trustees meeting. We have been in executive session discussing matters pertaining to various topics, and we've now returned to our general session. Thank you so much for your presence and your patience tonight. At this time, we're going to stand and have an inspirational moment and Pledge of Allegiance. I had the opportunity several years ago to receive a book of readings from young men at the Department of Juvenile Justice, and the title of the book is Voices of the Unheard. And as I was looking through selecting a reading for tonight, I found one that I wanted to share by a young man who simply called himself Timothy. The title of his reading is Moments to Catch. Life is short, and I've got moments to catch. So don't waste my time, don't get in my way, don't stand in my light, don't steal my thunder, don't rain on my parade, don't lead my dance, don't dash my hopes against the rocks of your disillusion. My life is short and I've got moments to catch. Don't waste my time. Get in step with me and share my light. Roar in my thunder, march in my parade, dance with me and hope with me. Because we've got moments to catch. Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. You may be seated. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Been moved by Ms. Spector, second by Mr. Manning. Any discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. Ms. Anderson?
I voted.
She said she voted. Jill? Okay. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda. The chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Anderson, second by Mr. Manning. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Dr. Fleming?
on the technology report, I'd like Ms. Cramner to explain the Google relationship we have now, and
Yes, sir.
I found that fascinating.
Absolutely. Ms. Crammer?
Sir, you're probably referring to the item where I mentioned how they accepted one of our suggestions or incorporated into software designs, and that really stems from a relationship with Google, who is the provider of many of the Google Apps for Education tools and our Chromebooks, in which we have throughout our one-to-one development, our technical team has been offering them technical and design suggestions about how they might improve their products and their operating system for Chromebooks and other pieces of the other components like that. And in many cases, they've responded to those requests and actually incorporated those into their new software releases. So it's been a good relationship, because typically you don't have the experience with vendors that will actually take a suggestion and incorporate it in a timely manner. It's usually a much longer drawn-out process. So they've respected the capability of our engineering, our folks on our IT team, and some of the good ideas that they have, and have incorporated those into the product. So that was the latest product. This latest update here is what.
Well, I understand that some of these innovations have saved us bandwidth. Does that save us money too? When we have?
Yes,
okay.
Certainly. It really improves the beginning of the year startup procedure, because as you can imagine, when Chromebooks and iPads are basically dormant for the summertime, when all the students come back and they distribute them and turn them all on, they're all looking for updates. And so with this new design, the updates are stored locally on our wide area network, thus preventing the need for them to have to reach out to the internet to get those updates. And so that makes the classroom operations a lot smoother.
Well, thank you, Ms. Cramner. I was very impressed with that item this week, and thank you for bringing it to the board.
Thank you very much. Other questions? Any other discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is our special recognition. Dr. Ham?
Yes, Libby Roof, our Executive Director of Communications, will be presenting these recognitions.
Thank you, Dr. Ham. Mr. Chair, members of the board, our Richland 2 staff, parents, and students. Tonight, we are proud to introduce our 2014-2015 Teachers of the Year, and they've already gathered in the back, and their principals are going to join them. But before we bring them up, we have two other awards we want to recognize. I believe Dr. Elkins Johnson is going to help us with handing out those certificates. First, I'd like to call up Ramona Brown, a third grade teacher from Killian Elementary, and ask her principal, Dr. Robert Scotland, to come forward as well. Ms. Brown has been selected as a facilitator for the National Education Association's Great Public Schools Network. The network is an online community where teachers, parents, education support professionals can share ideas and resources aimed at improving student success. More than 1,000 individuals applied to be on the inaugural leaders of this new online network. Brown and only 60 others were selected for their knowledge and understanding of their topic, their technology skills, and their commitment to help fellow educators improve their skills to foster student success. Congratulations, Ms. Brown. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now I'd like to call up Donna Toiber, who is a team leader for technology integration in Richland 2. Ms. Toiber is the recipient of the 2014 Pillar of Leadership and Technology Award. Tonight is the technology night in our awards. The Pillar Awards program recognizes the area's top leaders in technology innovation. Ms. Toiber was a key leader in the development of R2 Innovates, an incubator that promotes innovative ideas and design thinking. She is a Google certified teacher, serves on the South Carolina EdTech Planning Committee, and is a Discovery Education Network star educator. Congratulations, Ms. Toiber. Okay, we're going to ask all the board to come forward and line up front so y'all can all get a chance to shake every Teachers of the Year hand. It's a mouthful. While they're lining up, I'll tell you a little bit about our Teachers of the Year. Their teachers voted them tops in their school. These teachers are exceptionally dedicated, knowledgeable, and skilled. They inspire students of all backgrounds and abilities to learn. They have the respect and admiration of students, parents, and colleagues, and play an active and useful role in the school as well as in the community. We are certainly blessed in Richland 2 to be able to call them our teachers. First up, we want everyone to meet our 2014-2015 District Teacher of the Year, Kim Kuhn from Bookman Road Elementary. Please come forward. Our 4 Honor Roll Teachers of the Year are Rusty Curry from Blythewood High, Jennifer Hethcox from North Springs Elementary, Nicole Lucky from Catawba Trail Elementary,
James, you give Nicole Lucky first.
and Jessica Skinner from Lake Carolina Elementary.
Linda, will you give Jessica Skinner?
And now for the rest of our best, Start with Lorraine Beck, Kelly Mill Middle.
This one here.
Carol Bias, Sandlapper Elementary. Sheena Bowles, Bethel Hanbury Elementary. Jennifer Barorick with Ridgeview High could not be with us tonight. Next is Megan Burton, Windsor Elementary. Jennifer Callahan, Westwood High. Emily Caskey, Condor Elementary. Latarsha Cleckley, Keels Elementary. Robin Cleckley, Round Top Elementary. Nicole Inger, Pontiac Elementary. Felicia Goodwin, Summit Parkway Middle. Eric Gunther, Dent Middle. Carol Luke, Spring Valley High. Marte Monroe, Nelson Elementary. Veronica McDonald, Longleaf Middle. Stephanie McFadden Henderson, Forest Lake Elementary. James McTeer, the Teacher of the Year from Polo Road Elementary, could not be with us tonight. Taureen Robinson, Bridge Creek Elementary. Kristen Siren, Langford Elementary. Michael Snipes, E.L. Wright Middle. Christy Stokes, Muller Road Middle. Stephanie Stone, Richland Northeast High. Lorena Swetnan, Blythewood Middle. Leslie Teffs, Rice Creek Elementary. And Kendra Waring, Killian Elementary. Our Teachers of the Year not only receive an honor, but being Teacher of the Year comes with a lot of extra work, and so we do owe them even more thanks. Many of them serve on the Faculty Advisory Council, they're on the Teacher Forum, and they get volunteered for a lot of extra jobs. So while it is an honor, we all know that it is an extra work, but I'm sure they wouldn't trade it for the world, and they give their whole heart like everything they do. So please join me in thanking them and congratulating them one more time. And And that concludes our recognitions.
Thank you very much, Libby. Next on our agenda is our student focus. Dr. Ham?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Cassina Jackson, the principal here, will be introducing the student focus.
Good evening,
Good
Chairman
evening.
Jackson, Vice Chairman Manning, school board members, and Dr. Ham, and all guests here today. I want to welcome you to Langford Elementary School. I have two very, very special guests with me today, and I'm going to let them tell you a little bit about Langford Elementary.
We are fifth graders here at Langford, and on behalf of the Student Council, principals, teachers, students, welcome. My name is Caitlin Murray, and I'm president of the Student Council.
My name is Nathan Bristol, and I am the Student Council Vice President. Tonight we would like to welcome you, and we will tell you all about what we do every day when coming to school.
When our teachers teach us something new, they just don't write it down and have us copy it. Instead, they have us do fun activities with it, like playing games and doing writing projects. For example, several weeks ago, I did a writing project, and I chose to research the LAX. And my partner chose to research a biography about George Washington.
We have one-to-one with computers. Starting in first grade and third through fifth grade, all students have computers to do some of the projects Caitlin was talking about. Every Friday, we have clubs at Langford. At the beginning of the year, you order the clubs from 1 through 5 of what you like the most. Then on Fridays, the children in grades 3 through 5 get to go to the clubs of their choice. The clubs are Advanced PE, Tonic Link, Cards, Boards, and More, Lab Tech, and Art Club. We also go on different types of field studies throughout the year to bring learning to life for us.
One last thing we really want you to know, this year may be the first week of school we wrote what we thought would help us learn better. We brought 2 examples. Mine is from Miss Rogers' class, and their question was, what should your teachers do to help you be successful? 2 examples of the answers are, listen to me and teach on my speed, and another one is, trust and believe in us.
Mine came from Miss Hill's homeroom. What should we do to have a possum year? Since at Langford we're the Langford Labs and we have a lot to do with dogs. One of the answers were, listen to everybody and have more respect. The other answer was, don't give up on each other and hard work and work hard.
Once we finished, our teacher read all of them, but did not tell the students who wrote what. This made us feel like they were actually trying to get to know us instead of just showing up and doing their job.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you have a wonderful meeting.
Thank you very much.
We also have a very brief 2-minute video just so that you can get a little better feel of what Langford is all about. Thank you so much. I would like to add to that that we did not tell the kids what to write, or the parents, or the community. Everyone chose their own word. Thank you so much, and have a great night.
Thank you, Ms. Ann. Ms. Jackson. Next on our agenda is public participation. No one signed up, and therefore we don't have anyone scheduled. However, if there's anyone in the audience who would like to come up and address the board, you may do so at this time. Okay, thank you very much. Next on our agenda is voting on the executive session items. The chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Anderson.
student number 1, Blythewood Academy. I recommend that they apply Blythewood Academy and to include Loredak. Student number 2, Blythewood Academy, Loredak, and Family Council. Am I going too fast?
Are you okay, Jill?
Number 3, Anna Boyd. Number 4, Blythewood Academy.
Been moved by Ms. Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Manning. Any discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda, under old business action requested, is proposed magnet phase 2. Dr. Ham.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, at the last meeting we presented some conceptual ideas for magnets. Now we're bringing those for action to you tonight, and Nancy Gregory, our Executive Director for Teaching and Learning, is here to answer any questions that you may have.
Good evening, Chairman Jackson, members of the board, Dr. Ham. You have in your board packet proposals for the new magnets and magnet revisions. At the last board meeting, we presented you with broad concepts for each. And with your direction, we're coming back to you tonight with more in-depth proposals for action. Starting with slide 1, we have identified Polo Road for the language immersion program, the Leadership Academy at Muller Road Middle, Forest Lake Elementary Learning Collaborative, and if you will note, we have removed the Inquiry Montessori proposal for now due to timing and logistics. For magnet program revisions, we have the iLink Convergence Media, FAME, opening FAME for choice, and then the 6th grade at Center for Achievement. So we appreciate your support as we continue to develop unique opportunities for Richland 2 students. Do you have any questions?
Any questions or comments on the board?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Manning.
A couple questions. One, for Forest Lake, there's proposal for portables on the campus. Is that long-term? Is that temporary?
That was in the short term, I believe, and Will Anderson is here, and Jack Carter can also answer that, but my understanding is that is temporary as we will be opening a new elementary school very shortly.
That is if necessary. Hopefully that will not happen, but that's just if we have to do that. That is the potential for just 1 year, because of elementary 20 opening the next year. We don't want to do that, and I think Dr. Steck has the capacity and space, but we just wanted to get that out front, that there's a possibility we could have a portable there.
Just in case.
Okay. Other question is CFA. We're expanding it to 6th grade, which I have heard a lot about CFA parents wanting that continuation. So, but I'm kind of curious why just 6th grade, and if it's going to be 6th grade, is it on the middle school campus so that they can kind of transition out to the school. To talk to me more.
We
about
are
that.
working out those logistics, but the belief was that it would be in CFA, on the CFA campus, for the 6th grade. And right now, we are only looking at the 6th grade, but we have also looked at possibilities of transitioning in 7th grade or an 8th grade option as they would go on to middle school. So for right now, the expansion is only 6th grade as we are looking at other options for the long term. But most of what we have looked at was the request from parents to remain an additional year to transfer to middle school.
Ms. Gregory, for the benefit of the audience, would you tell them just briefly the uniqueness of CFA versus some of the other magnet programs in terms of the kinds of students and the intent?
CFA has a very small learning environment, and the classrooms are 16. There's 16 in a classroom, and we feel like having a 6th grade class where those children have been successful, where they may have potentially struggled at other times, that it would be a great benefit for them to remain at least for the 6th grade year to transition to middle school.
Last question.
Yes, sir,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman.
Manning.
The foreign language magnet, do we have a proposal as to where that would go?
That is Polo Road. We've identified
I'm
Polo
sorry.
Road.
Okay, I didn't see that on
That's
there.
okay. It wasn't in your packet. I apologize. We added it into the slides.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions or comments from the board?
Mr. Chair, I
Yes,
just
Ms.
would like
Spector.
to make one comment on the CFA. I'm excited to see that y'all are expanding that to 6th grade. I know it's been a concern that we want it to go even 7th and on up to 8th grade. And honestly, I hope that we can even venture into the high school level because of these,
And this is a new
students.
proposal for us as we venture into the middle school, and we felt like this would be a good match, requests from parents, and starting with the 6th grade first.
It's a great idea.
Thank you, Ms. Spector. Other questions, comments on the board? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this time, the chair will entertain a motion.
So we accept the district's proposal.
Moved by Mr. Manning. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Spector. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote.
It's not that they get more information.
Motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is the proposed Ridgeview High School facilities discussion. Dr. Ham?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as the board knows, we've been working steadily to improve the facilities at Ridgeview High School, and we're coming with a proposal for you tonight about getting that project done.
We're waiting on my slides to come up.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, at our last meeting, you asked us to relook the phasing, so we took what we had shown last time as 2 phases, converted into what we're referring to is, I'll get to that in a second, as our next steps. But let's review quickly the top 10 from Ridgeview. Up, there you go. I don't know why those numbers all came out that way, but there are 10 of those things. And so again, we combined the 2 phases. And that now is one, again, we're referring to it as the next steps, the artificial field for the main competition field on campus, lighting for a practice field, auditorium upgrades, and again, that's primarily a cosmetic upgrade to the existing auditorium area. Then a media center renovation similar to what we've done at a couple of our schools already. And then actually reduce lockers and renovate, that is to get the lockers all back to one color, school colors, and I think there's a request to also go to a different kind of locking system, which we could accomplish at that time. We estimate that budget to be about $1.9 million. As in just a little further information, we are advertising that artificial surface on Thursday. We will have a mandatory field walk on the 2nd of October, and then we'll open the bids on the 16th of October, which gives us plenty of time to get started in late November. As far as the funding, I'm going to let Dr. Miley come up and discuss that.
Thank you, Jack. we're proposing that we will come back to you on your next board meeting, October the 14th, with a finite funding plan for these improvements.
Any additional questions for Dr. Miley or Mr. Carter at this time from the board? Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Don't mean to rush you.
And then the remaining items on the top 10 not addressed, already addressed or in the phase, will be addressed as part of, and we're showing to be determined as far as pricing because we're getting some additional pricing. But right now, all of those items show up in the 10-year facility plan.
Questions, comments from the board? Hearing no additional questions, comments, the chair will entertain a motion on.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a
Dr.
motion
Elkins Johnson.
that we approve the proposed plan for Ridgeview as presented.
Second.
Been moved by Dr. Elkins Johnson, second by Mr. Manning. Any additional questions or discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote.
Didn't come up yet.
She said it didn't come up.
Pardon me. Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is the update on the Richland 2 Institute Innovation. Dr. Ham.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, back in April, the board had a work session, and one of the items in that work session that was addressed was the Richland 2 Institute of Innovation. At that time, we put together some next steps. We want to bring you up to date, how those have been completed, and the progress that's been made since April. So to do that is Martha Jones, the Director of Community Partnerships, Baron Davis, his Assistant Superintendent, and we're also fortunate to have with us tonight Neil McLean, who is the founder and managing partner for, I'm not going to say the name right. Sorry. I am so sorry I didn't get that right. But we are fortunate to have him as one of the people who is on the committee that's making recommendations about this center, and he's been named one of the 50 most influential people in Columbia and the metropolitan area. We're proud to have him as a partner in this endeavor.
Thank you. Dr. Davis and I are here to give you an update and to let you know how we've checked off our to-do list from the last time that we saw you on April 1st. Some of the things that we had to accomplish since then: property closing and groundbreaking, and of course y'all were there for that. Naming committee, we've completed that in June. This is something that is ongoing and will continue to be ongoing. The benchmarks for regional and national best practices. Since the April 1st meeting, a group of folks went out to CAPS in Blue Valley, Kansas. We also visited the Northland School District Consortium, which is apart but separate from the Blue Valley CAPS. It's a different model for students to have kids go out into manufacturing, out into industry and work and have classes there. Some of us attended the Failure to Launch conference that was over in Lexington 5. We've studied the South Carolina's Education Workforce Matchup Study that was it's a look at what workforce needs are going to be from 2013 through 2030, and Barron's going to talk a little bit about that in just a second. That's from the USC Moore School of Business, so he'll fill you in on that. We have also met with MEBA, the Midlands Education Business Alliance, and the Central South Carolina Alliance representatives, which are part of our advisory board as well. We established an advisory board, and as of last Thursday, we held our first meeting. We are continuing to look at and refine and finalize the initial program offerings that we want to get started with. Won't be what we finish with, but it'll be what we get started with. And we've been working to secure partnerships and with business as well as higher ed. And that certainly will be an ongoing thing that will continue. We wanted to show you the higher ed partners that we have on board right now: Claflin, Clemson, Midlands Tech, and the University of South Carolina. And these folks are coming to us, and we're talking back and forth about what a partnership is, what we can do for them, and what they can do for us in terms of the possibility of dual credit and uses of teachers and all kinds of things. We've also, on the advisory board, put together quite an impressive group of folks from BB&T, sagacious partners, Neil McClain here with us tonight, the Moore Center for Orthopedics, Blue Cross Blue Shield. And the effort here was to create a partnership with folks that are related to those programs that we want to get started with. And so again, that's an ongoing endeavor. Here's a list of the folks that are on the advisory board, and I think you've gotten all of this in your packet tonight. We talked with the advisory board about what their role will be in terms of looking at the R2I2. We want them to be advocates for us, when they're out in the community and when they're talking at meetings that they're attending. We want them to say nice things about us. Program leadership in terms of expertise, that's to me the biggest one. We want them to tell us what we need to do. We need help when we're putting our classrooms together. We need help when we're putting the curriculum together. When we find that, help us tweak it. Help us know what to do for our kids. We are asking for resource assistance, mostly in human capital and knowledge capital. Not so much money just yet, but we want people. We want teachers. We want, again, their expertise and the folks that can provide that for us. And we want community representation and helping us look at the goals for the center, helping us tweak those goals, continue to stay on the cutting edge of what we want to do in the R2I2.
So as we were beginning to move forward, one of the things that we needed to look at is the profile of a graduate in the state of South Carolina, and that, for that matter, in the 21st century. And one of the things that we know is that this person is going to have world-class knowledge. They're going to have to be able to meet rigorous standards when it comes to language arts and mathematics, as well as career and technology readiness. They're going to need some world-class skills. They're going to need to think critically and be innovative. They're going to need to be able to collaborate and work in teams, as well as life and career characteristics like integrity and a global perspective and a work ethic and interpersonal skills. So we wanted to look at where we are and how we're going to prepare our students to meet these demands for the 21st century workplace here in our state as well as in our country. By doing that, we also want to we took an opportunity to look at the South Carolina's education workforce matchup from 2013 to 2030, and this was conducted by the Moore School of Business. And what was basically found, as you can see in this slide, is simply in the next 17 years, there'll be approximately 553,000 jobs, new jobs that will be created in South Carolina. And 52% of these jobs will require post-secondary education. The economic growth will outpace the projected increase in the labor force, and by 2030, there will be a shortage of about 44,000 workers with associate degrees and about 70,000 workers with bachelor's degrees or higher. So what we want to be able to do is increase the employment for our students, the employability for our students. As one of the largest school districts in the state and the largest school district in the Midlands, I think it's imperative that we focus on making sure that our students are able to secure jobs in the future. And knowing that there will be some gaps between what our students will be some gaps in the jobs that are available and the skills that students will need to be able to fill those jobs, R2I2 will serve as a vehicle to be able to close that gap to make sure that the students in Richland School District 2 are employable and in the forefront of being able to receive these jobs. So some of the areas of employment that this will be include manufacturing, computer-related jobs, food service jobs, jobs in transportation and warehousing, as well as there will be a shortage in healthcare. So the parameters this leads us to our parameters for programming. What we want to also make clear is that the R2I2 would not be a replacement for the programs in our comprehensive high schools. So we have programs already established in our high schools, and we do not want to necessarily compete with those programs. So we want to make sure that we select programs that will be different from those programs that we already have that are well established in our high schools. Also, R2I2 is for all students. We don't want it to come across that this program or this Institute for Innovation is only for high flyers. It's for all students. It's for wherever a student is at that moment. We're going to have multiple entry points for that students as well as exit points, and we're going to create opportunities for students who have a wide range of interests and ability levels. And so we don't want, we want to be able to attract students who have the vision or who have the desire to be supply chain logistics managers, or they may want to be a supply clerk. We want to attract students who want to own their own business, or they maybe want to be business managers. It doesn't really matter where they want to be. We want to be able to provide them with a vehicle to be able to do that, and we think we can do this with this program. We're going to also align with local and regional workforce and development needs. So there will be an ongoing relationship and ongoing dialogue with those individuals, mainly our partners and our advisory board, along with our board, our school board, to help to make sure that we are aligned with what workforce, regional and workforce needs we need for the future. Programs will, we will leverage and enhance higher education and business partnerships, and we will work to offer dual credit and certification and articulation agreements as well. So we have the vision that a student will be able to matriculate through R2I2 and be able to take a dual credit course and receive dual credit for college, or get a certification as well, or get an articulation agreement. So that, again, touches on those different levels. Again, this is for all of our students and providing them with an opportunity. We will maintain a program that's flexible and has agility. So we will have programs that there are not necessarily just, once we put the programs in place, that doesn't mean those programs will stay there. In about 5 years, the workforce or the demands may shift. We need to have a facility that's going to be flexible and programs that will be flexible so that we can start migrating out of that program and start introducing new programs. So it will be totally different from the comprehensive high school setting that we currently have. Some of our initial programming areas that we are proposing to look at will be advanced information technologies. It will be supply chain logistics, advanced manufacturing, advanced engineering, advanced hospitality and arts, and business finance and entrepreneurship. In these different programs, we'll have a common thread of entrepreneurship, finance, informational technology, as well as leadership. And again, don't let the title advance throw you. Students will be able to come in at any level and exit at any level once they've achieved whatever it is that they have enrolled in the program to achieve. And just for your viewing, this is the proposed branding for R2I2, the Richland 2 Institute of Innovation, Endless Possibilities, and that's indicative of our infinity sign.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. Well, I have a vested interest in this program, really on two fronts. First, my business is involved in economic development staffing, and we staff initiatives at Ingenuity SC and New Carolina that are involved in workforce and growing our economy, all focused on growing the Midlands and the South Carolina economy. And we're involved with two workforce initiatives, both in Richland 1 and Richland 2. Second, and much more important, is I have two children that are in Richland 2 schools. My son Thomas and daughter Veronica are now both graduated from the Dent TLC program and are now in Spring Valley's Discovery program. So I'll say I'm a big fan of the teachers and the administrators in those programs, and a huge fan of the magnets in District 2. Kind of back to our economic development work. In the big picture, we work with industries like insurance tech, nuclear logistics, all looking for, what do they need to do to be more competitive? What do they need to do to grow their industry in the Midlands or in South Carolina? And almost without fail, the number one issue they have is workforce. If they're going to grow here, they're going to have the workforce they're going to need. Otherwise, they're going to leave. What we found is that the missing link is often that students and teachers, it really is connecting students and teachers directly to students and parents so that they understand the businesses that one day may hire them. So businesses really don't have an easy way to connect to students and teachers and vice versa. And so that's what we spend a lot of time doing. And I'll give you just a couple of examples of projects that we're working on at Richland High School and then at Westwood and Ridgeview. The first one at Richland High School is about influencing parents, and we have this parent university where parents come into the school and they're able to hear from companies like Colonial Life and Michelin to actually understand the types of careers that will be available for their students in the future, the types of job opportunities. At Westwood and Ridgeview, we are putting together student and teacher discovery days. So we actually bring the businesses to them and bring the students and teachers into the businesses to better understand how what they're teaching and learning about every day connects to the math and the social studies and the STEM classes that they're taking. We're especially excited about the CAT program that's happening at Westwood and Ridgeview. This is focused on developing internships starting in the 11th and 12th grade in engineering and IT. So these students will have an opportunity to spend 3 to 4 hours a week in a business to learn and be mentored, ultimately with a goal of getting a certification and being ready to go into a career when they get out of high school or after another 2 or 4 years of education. We're also putting together field studies at places like FN Manufacturing with action that they can actually go and have hands-on experience with businesses. So again, the bottom line is that students, we need our teachers to make the connection between the math and the science and the classes that they're taking every day and the social skill sets that we're teaching them in schools and how are they going to put those to use in the career that they're ultimately going to be working in the next 40 years. This coming together of businesses and schools is exactly what's going to happen at R2. I2. I'm afraid I'm going to say R2D2. R2 I2. So I can say as a member of the business community and as a parent of Richland 2 students, we're excited about what this facility will do, both in terms of a place where these things can happen, but also the programs that will extend out into all of the schools. So we're headed in the right direction. Appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight.
Thank you very much. Questions or comments from the board?
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes, Dr. Elkins Johnson.
I know Dr. Davis mentioned that this program is not only for high flyers, but as I look on the list, I'm a little concerned because I'm a former CATE teacher, home economics, now family and consumer sciences. And I didn't see anything that can attract those students who are going straight from school to the workplace, like welding, auto mechanic, cosmetology, shop. So if you can address that for me, how we're going to bring in those students who are going straight from school to work in those specific areas. Also, as I looked on the list, I'm still concerned that we have not considered having an HBCU college, South Carolina State College, South Carolina State University now. So how are we going to reach out to some of those HBCU schools like South Carolina State University? Because I know one of my colleagues previously stated that we have not confirmed the list. So if the list is not confirmed, I would love to see us consider having a conversation at the table with someone from South Carolina State University as one of our higher education partners.
Those are two really good questions. I'll take the latter question first.
Okay.
As far as the HBCU, I know we do have Claflin University as one of our schools as educational partners. However, the partners list will be an ongoing list. This list will not simply stop at 19 to 20 partners. One of the things that we saw that was very beneficial when we visited the CAPS program, I think they have well over 250 partners, and we're continuously looking at partners. And that's where the advisory board for R2, I2 will be so integral, because one of their primary responsibilities will be helping to secure additional partners for the Institute. And so we're looking forward to reaching out to as many partners as we can that will be able to enhance the educational experiences and offer those different learning experiences for our students for years to come. So I definitely do not see it just stopping at the current level of partners that we have.
Okay, one other thing. Well, how did you all decide on the partners that you do have from the higher education department? How was that decision made?
I'm not really sure how that decision was made. I can yield to Martha.
Well, we took a little note from CAPS, and we started with people that we knew, and people that, one thing that I learned at our advisory board meeting, I knew that there were some folks like Neil that had children in our school district, but there are a lot of people on this advisory council who have children in this school district, and that's exactly what we did, was we started with people that we knew. So any connections that anybody has, we are very willing to go and make that contact and bring those folks into our, as an endorsement for our program, to look at what we're doing and to give us the thumbs up from those. So
thank you. I appreciate you saying that, because I do believe we have someone we know, Dr. Frederick Evans, who's the Dean of South Carolina State College in the Education Department. Mm-hmm. He have a child in the district, as well as his wife is Teacher of the Year and a teacher at Condor, and I think most of us are very familiar with that. So I'm glad that you said that, because we do have someone that we know. So I would love for you guys to get in contact with Dr. Frederick Evans, who's the Dean of South Carolina State University. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to add, during the advisory board meeting, one of the questions that we asked the members of the advisory board was who else should be at the table. And so we were taking suggestions, and we'll continuously take suggestions again from our advisory board. We really envision the advisory board being the primary body, the drive, the attracting of partners to assist with R2, I2, along with district personnel. But that board of professionals and experts in their fields, whether it's education or business or health, health science, whatever, will be those individuals will connect us to individuals that we do not have at the table, and that's something I say we'll go on, and hopefully we'll be well into the 250s, just like the model that we saw. To address the situation about K courses, one of the things that we have to be careful about as we begin, because again, these strands are just initial strands or initial focuses. We will eventually branch out and begin to offer different types of courses in all the classes, all the types of K courses that we have at our different schools. But one of the things we didn't want to do is compete directly with a program that may already be in place, because if we put it there, then that may hurt some schools that have, students may actually choice to those schools for those specific programs. If we offer it specifically at R2, I2, then those students make choice out of that and only want to come to and go back to their home schools, and then only want to go to R2, I2. So we have to approach that a little more carefully, but we will be able to complement some programs. There may be some levels that a school may have, various high schools may have. For example, they may only be short level 4. They may not have enough level 4 students. But if we look at all the high schools collectively, there may be enough to make a level 4 of a K course so that those students can be K completers, where if they were at their school, they wouldn't be able to do that. So we're looking at that closely, and we'll be able to develop those programs and add those programs as we move forward. But these are just an initial starting point for us.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Dr. Ms. Spector.
One thing I'd like to suggest, just because we've given you a name or anybody in the community, I want to make sure that whatever schools that we're partnering with, whether they're just for certifications, those schools are accredited. There's a lot of schools out there you can get certifications from, but they will not transfer into a regular college. So we've got to make sure we're not just picking up partnerships just to have the partnerships.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Other questions or comments on the board?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Manning.
First off, I want to thank the advisory committee and the work that's been done. I think this is a game changer for our district and a critical need, not just for the district, but as you mentioned, for the state, for our region. Couple areas that I'm interested in. One, I'd like to see if we can have some opportunities for our special needs students for career transitions. I think there might be some opportunities there to explore as well. I'd really be interested once we kind of get the ball moving a little more to figure out how to push those tentacles down into middle school for exposure to opportunities, so that students aren't only looking to what they've been exposed to, that they have opportunities to see and maybe aspire to some things that they wouldn't normally have seen once we get moving. And then the other, I'm very interested in how we figure out how to take some of our career classes and have students get core credits for things like science and math out of some of those career classes, so that they can kind of kill two birds with one stone and make it much more relevant to them as they do it. We talk about engaged learners and other things, and not just at R2I2, but also in our high schools. If there's opportunities for that, I would like to see us work towards that goal.
Thank you, Ms. Manning. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, you bring up a very good point. I know that you've seen the floor layout of this building. It is very versatile, and the intent is to, and we've talked about this, exposing students and exposing parents at a much younger age to these different types of careers, so that, you know, we've got the parents on our side saying, you know what, this is really a good idea for you. You love this. You love doing this. This is what, some more career exploration on a much grander scale in terms of opportunities for kids and parents to see it. So you bring up a very, very valid point.
Thank you. Other questions or comments on the board?
Mr. Chair,
Dr. Fleming.
I think your percentage of 52% is low of people who needs. They're going to need whatever they do. They need a certificate. It's amazing how many jobs require this type of training post-secondary. I mean, I've heard closer to 60%, 65%. But you're working at it, and that's great. And I just want to make sure that, see, I foresee this after studying the CAPS programs in other places, that this is going to be different. This is going to be then an adjunct to our programs we now have, whether they're CATE or engineering programs or whatever. This is going to be a school where they can't get it anywhere else. And this is going to develop an opportunity for our students to make sure that we can develop students with skills that they need for the next century. Now, they may go out, I don't know which level. I'm sure they will be able to go out any level that they need to accomplish that. But I look at it as a place of opportunity, and make sure that we have the best possible leadership and training that they can get.
Other questions or comments on the board? Dr. Ham and I had the opportunity about 3 weeks ago to attend a meeting downtown sponsored by Bank of America, and it pulled together a lot of business and industry folk and just a couple of folks from the education arena talking about the future of the South Columbia and the Midlands and our region as it relates to economic development. And there was no question that it was real clear in that meeting that morning at 7:30, which was real early, Ms. Anderson, 7:30 a.m. breakfast meeting, that they are really concerned about the dearth that's going to be in our region with regards to number of jobs and the specific needs of those jobs and the number of certified qualified applicants. Back to Dr. Elkins Johnson's point, I am continually concerned that, and this is probably not a problem that R2I2 is going to solve, but it is related, that we make sure that those students, and you hit on it, Dr. Davis, those students who are enrolled in our CATE programs in our high schools now, that I hope the principals who are still here hear me on this, that we get the scheduling hurdles out of the way so that we can have more completers. Because one of the biggest problems that we have in some of the schools with students who want to take enough courses, the next level course to be a completer, is competing with the core course. And so they don't have an option or a choice. So they're forced out of a number of K courses, not because they don't want to take them, but because the opportunity is not there. And we really need to seriously address that. And I also want to make sure that when the students get to your program, get to our program at R2I2, that there is an opportunity for themselves there to complete it as well, so that we don't create this high level of interest and exploration, but not the opportunity to seriously complete, so they can compete for jobs. Just recently, I had the opportunity on a different hat that I wear in the community. We are doing a career exploration program at a place where I do some other work, and we had about 40 students who just started our program 2 weeks ago, and being funded by Richland County Council. I was able to get the representative from Boeing and Westinghouse to come to the initial orientation with those 40 students, many of whom did not have high school diplomas. And both of those major industries in South Carolina talked extensively about the number of entry-level jobs that they have available that will only require the high school diploma. So yes, it requires greater than, but there are a number of positions in major industries that only require that. And so we need to make sure that we articulate that as well while we're encouraging our students to go beyond high school. Thank you very much. Any other comments from the board? Thank you very much, folks. Appreciate that very much. Next on our agenda, under new business action requested, is the certification of delegates for our annual South Carolina School Board Association Delegate Assembly. Dr. Ham?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Richland School District 2 gets 9 delegates, and you'll need to identify who those delegates will be.
First, let me start with, are there any members of the board who would like to volunteer to be a delegate?
Mr. Chair, I would like to volunteer. I've been a delegate every year that I'm on the board. I'd like to continue that service.
Is there anyone else who would like to volunteer to be a delegate?
Mr. Chair, I can.
Can? You said you can? Okay, Ms. Brill. Anyone else? Because we have 9 votes.
I was a delegate last year, so I'll afford that opportunity to someone else.
Thank you, Ms. Dottie Elkins-Johnson. I've been a delegate a couple of times as well, so I understand. If not, then we'd like to entertain a motion from the board to appoint these 2 individuals, Ms. Brill and Mr. Manning, to be the board delegates at the General Assembly. Is there a motion?
I move that we accept the 2.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Elkins-Johnson. Any further discussion? We need to name alternates as well. Okay. How many alternates do we need to name, Georgia?
We need one more.
Okay. Well, one alternate could do all 9
One
events.
alternate.
Okay. Is there a volunteer to be an alternate?
Mr. Chair, I'll be an alternate.
Okay. I would like to then, I would rather not make the motion though, since, can I get someone to make that motion then for?
I move that Mr. Jackson and Dr. Johnson be alternates.
Mr. Jackson is not volunteering to be an alternate.
I thought you said you were volunteering.
No, Dr. Elkins-Johnson, I'm fine with that.
Oh, I thought you said you were
No,
volunteering.
no, I didn't, but I'm fine with that, Ms. Anderson, I'm fine
Oh, well,
with
that's
that.
okay.
No, both of us.
I'm
She's
gonna
gonna
leave
go
it,
for it.
I'm gonna leave it that way for both of them, just in case, you know,
Thank
we
you.
are covered. And we
Thank you so
don't
much,
lose
Ms.
our
Anderson.
votes.
It's been, let's get a second on that first. Let's get I need a second on that motion by Ms. Anderson. It's been seconded by someone down here? Who? I didn't hear who seconded it.
Oh, second, yes.
Okay. Now, any further discussion? We have 2 motions on the floor. Ms. Counsel, you going to help me out here with something else? Okay. Can the chair make that designation, Ms. Counsel? Is that okay with
Yes.
Ms. Manning, Ms. Brill? We'll have Ms. Brill have 4, and Mr. Manning have 5. Motions on the floor for the 2 delegate representatives, Mrs. Brill and Mr. Manning, 2 alternates, Dr. Elkins-Johnson and Chip Jackson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote, Joe? Ready to vote. You didn't second it. Okay. Jill, we're gonna make a change in the editorial part of it. The motion will be seconded by Ms. Spector. Okay. All right. Have we all voted?
I second the vote because she's
She's asking you
yes.
voting now. She's asking you to vote.
didn't want to vote. I just said I'd second.
We got that part. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is the agenda items for our October 14th board meeting, which will be held at Polo Road Elementary School. Dr. Ham.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we'll begin with a faculty focus that will focus on our reading coaches, which are part of the Read to Succeed Act. We'll have an update from our discipline task force. We'll have the funding proposal for Ridgeview High School facilities. I'd like to add one item that wasn't in your materials, and that's a policy modification to the tobacco-free schools policy, so that would include e-cigarettes.
Are there any, thank you, Dr. Ham. Are there any other additional items the board would like to see added to the October 14th agenda or a future board meeting agenda? Hearing none, we thank you very much for that. Next on our agenda is public participation, part 2. No one has signed up. However, if there's anyone in the audience who would like to address the board at this time, you can feel free to come to the mic and do so. Thank you very much. And next on our agenda is board and superintendent comments. We'll start to my right with Dr. Fleming.
I just want to congratulate all the teachers of the year. Thank you for your service. Y'all do a wonderful job, as I'm sure that your colleagues who voted you in as Teacher of the Year do also. And it's been great to be here in Langford. And really, that's all the comments I have.
Thank you, Dr. Fleming. Mrs. Anderson.
I want to thank Langford principal and faculty for hosting us tonight, and the young students who greeted us at the door and escorted us to where we needed to go. They were so sweet and polite. Two of them spoke tonight. I guess they were the president and vice president of the school. Appreciate that. Same kudos, share the same kudos as Dr. Fleming. And the presentation, Jack, we appreciate the work you're doing with Ridgeview and your report and the report for R2. Appreciate that, and the committee's just working on that. Thanks for all your hard work and all you do on a daily basis.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Dr. Elkins Johnson.
Yes, I would just like to say congratulations to all the Richland 2 Teachers of the Year, and also it was a great presentation tonight with R2I2, so thank you for the work that you guys have done with that. Look forward to hearing more.
Thank you. Mrs. Brill.
Wanted to thank Mrs. Jackson for your hospitality here tonight. I thought your students were precious, President and Vice President, and I especially enjoyed your video. I think your school is awesome, and I like the way you all exchanged your notes about that. I also appreciate the report R2I2. The piece that's really intriguing to me is the mentoring. I think that's so important for children, young students, well, the middle school kids that James is talking about, to see what opportunities are available. I think the younger that they can sort of become aware of what's out there and what's available and what it takes to get there. And if they have goals and goal-oriented, then I think it makes your whole piece come together just beautifully. And they have a purpose, you know, rather than just sort of getting through high school and concentrating on things that are not important. They kind of know where they're going. So really applaud the work that you all have done on this. And I know it's very early and very, you know, early planning, and we'll have different partners and new partners, and as people hear about this, they'll come on board. So I think we have a great opportunity. I want to thank you all for your work. Also, I enjoyed going last week to Richland 2 Innovates, the graduation there. Donna Tuber was presenting, and Mr. Cramner did an excellent job. And it was exciting for me to see what some of the teachers are doing in different schools and some of their innovative ideas. The one that sort of caught my fancy was at North Springs. They were talking about healthy food choices. And that was very interesting to those students, and I think a very novel and creative idea. And I think their goal, I'm sure, is to go and have these incubators in every school, not just the few. So hats off to the teachers that graduated and the folks that are making these presentations and taking time out of their work day to participate. So thank you, Tom, and thank you, Donna, wherever she is. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brill. Ms. Spector.
I also want to say thank you for hosting our board meeting tonight. And I enjoyed the presentation by the students and the video, but also really like the little card that they gave us. I'm not sure what grade level, but this was really cute. This is really special. I really enjoyed the report on the R2I2. I know it's at the beginning stages, but for us, it's kind of like it's been there forever, and we're just finally getting to points, and it's just like now we're ready to get going. But thanks for everything you've done.
Thank you, Mr. Spector. Mr. Manning?
No comment.
Thank you, Mr. Manning. Dr. Ham?
Mr. Chairman, first of all, I want to brag on our students. I'm very proud to say that Richland 2 has 14 National Merit Scholarship semifinalists and 6 National Achievement Scholarship semifinalists. So we're proud of those students, and I know you join me in wishing them well. I want to give kudos to Round Top Elementary Principal Janine Tucker. She's been named the 2014 Outstanding Principal of the Year by the South Carolina Art Education Association, and I'm sure she'll be at a future board meeting to be recognized for that. Talking about our students, one of our graduates has made the national news again, but Terrence Hayes graduated from Spring Valley in 1989 and became a National Book Award winning poet, and he has been named the 2014 MacArthur Fellow, which is commonly known as the Genius Fellowship. The prize is $625,000, which he plans to donate some of his winnings to an organization that supports African American poets. He's at the University of Pittsburgh right now, where he is an English professor, and it's nice to see our graduates succeed in such a big way and to be generous in supporting poetry. I'm pleased to announce something that I don't know if you've heard or not, but we got a Gear Up grant. And I know if you were at the graduations and heard anything about what those seniors are saying, our last Gear Up grant was a huge success. We have been keeping our fingers crossed, and we just learned that it has been funded for $9.6 million. And it will actually cover 4 of our middle schools, Dent, Longleaf, Summit Parkway, and E.L. Wright. And we also are, this is another one of those grants we're in collaboration with other school districts. So we hope they'll benefit from the really outstanding success we had the last time. And then finally, I want to mention 2 fundraisers. They're close to my heart, and I know they're close to yours as well. One is the Walk for Life with Palmetto, for the Palmetto Breast Center. That's coming up. And we are going to be stepping up our friendly competition with Richland 1 and have a take to the basketball court. I think some of the players are in this room. And then I think you get to be like the person who tosses the first ball or something like that.
Actually, I'm going to be doing a free throw competition with the chair of Richland 1's board, so I'm practicing now.
I'm glad it's not with me. Anyway, that'll be October the 2nd at 6 p.m. at the Richland Northeast High School gym. And of course, we're also working on the United Way campaign that we hope we've kicked off in keeping with our theme for the year. It's going to be a blockbuster year. And you probably recognize some familiar faces, but that's the blockbuster movie we're going to choose as our theme for the year. So we had a lot of fun kicking it off, and we'll be making visits to schools if they reach our goals. And one of our big themes for the year is 2 from 2. If every one of our employees would give $2 a pay period for the period that this United Way campaign covers, we would raise over $100,000, which would be just amazing. So that's our goal, for everybody to participate, $2 a pay period.
Thank you, Dr. Ham. Richland 2 is a very generous community of students, parents, and employees. And last year was evident in terms of the level of contributions we made towards both the Walk for Life and United Way. Obviously, Walk for Life, many of you know my story, but that is very dear to my heart. So I'm a strong advocate and proponent of supporting that, and look forward to everyone in Richland 2, again, this year coming out and being a part of what we're calling Team Richland. That represents Richland 1 and Richland 2 uniting to raise funds for a very, very worthwhile cause, and that is to continue to research and come up with a cure for early detection of breast cancer. So thank you very much in advance for what you're going to do for those two events. Also, I'd like to echo what my board members have said tonight with regards to the excellent presentations that we've heard, particularly on the R2I2 project. Thank you very much for the hard work. And I'd like to wish all of you well. Thank you for your patience and your attendance tonight. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
Moved by Mr. Manning, second by Mr. Anderson. No further discussion. We are adjourned. Thank you. Have a good night.